All right, hello again, Algebra 2 people. So we're going to continue with parabolas today and talking about a couple other important points or properties of parabolas. One of them is called the focus point, and the other one's called the directrix. So the reason the focus point is important is if you've ever seen a satellite dish and they have the little receiver like inside of the dish, the reason those things work is every single ray that comes into that satellite dish, they all bounce off the parabola, off the dish, and they all converge on the focus point. So the reason we can watch television and we can communicate, across countries and across the world, and even to our astronauts up on the International Space Station, is because satellite dishes are shaped like a parabola and those receivers are at the focus point. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to find these different things. So focus and the directrix. So the technical definition of a parabola is right here. I'm not going to read that out to you. Basically, what that says is if you pick any point on the parabola, like for instance, this point A, if you measure the distance from A to the focus, and you measure the distance from point A down to the directrix, it is actually always going to be the same distance. That works for any point. I could pick just some kind of random point right here. If I measured that distance and then that distance, it is always going to be the same. Okay? So what are a couple things we can notice here? So notice, my vertex is still what we call HK because we're still using vertex form in all of these. Okay, but a couple things to notice about this picture. So notice the focus point is always what I call inside the parabola. And then this line, the directrix, this kind of imaginary line, is always outside. Okay, but using that definition, notice the distance from the vertex to the focus or the vertex to the directrix is the same. It's what we call the p-value. So that begs the question, how do we find the p-value? And the way we do that is right here. So this is your formula that you have to know to find the distance that you're going to move between the vertex and the focus and the vertex and the directrix. Okay. Now we are going to deal with some fractions in class. I went through a quick little review of fractions. In order to save time in the video, I'm not going to do that here. If you need help getting comfortable with fractions, please come and see me. Okay, so we're going to use this formula right here, P equals 4A, to find the focus and the directrix. Okay, so I've got 4 examples here. I'll do the first couple, and then you can pause the video and see if you can do the last one by yourself, and we'll zip through those answers. So the first one, remember, this is still vertex form, so this is still your H and K, so we need to find the vertex. So obviously the vertex on the first one is -2, -4. My A is always going to be that number out front, so in this case it's 1/12. And remember, because it's positive, we know it's going to be opening up. Okay, now to find the p-value, again, just use your formula. So P equals 1/4A. In this case, that's 1/4 times 1/12. We can multiply the bottom. That becomes 1/4/12. If you do the keep, change, flip thing, that becomes 12/4, which is just 3. So my P in this case is just 3. Okay, now how do we use that? So I'm going to flip back over to that previous page so you can see that picture again. Notice that 3 tells us how far away the focus is. Well, if it's a up or down parabola, if there's my vertex, if I'm going up 3, all I have to do is change the y value of the vertex, right? So the formula that I can use here, and this is going to be for every single one, it's never going to change. The formula I can use to find the focus, the H is still part of the focus point because it's not going side to side, it's only going up or down. And then we're going to take the K value and just add the P value. Okay, so in this case, it's going to be -2, because again, the h isn't changing. And then it'll be -4 plus 3, which means the focus will be at -2, -1. Easy peasy. For the directrix, we're going to go the other direction. So if I add P for the focus, I'm going to subtract P to find the directrix. Now remember, the directrix is a line. So all we got to do is, it's a horizontal line, so it'd be y equals k minus p. So in this case, y equals -4 minus 3, which means it's y equals -7. And that is all there is to it. Okay? It's always going to add p for the vertex, for the focus, and you're always going to subtract p for the directrix. How about the next one? So again, same deal, vertex is at 1, 3. My A is -1/20, which means it's opening down, so it's negative. And then my P, do the same thing, so P equals 1/4 times -1/20, which is 1/-4/20. Keep change flip, -20/4, which is just -5. Okay, but folks, the formula doesn't change. So it's still going to be H comma, so it should be 1 comma, but now it's going to be 3 plus a -5, which basically means we're subtracting. So your focus is going to be at 1, -2. And then your directrix, it's k minus p, so y equals 3 minus a -5, but minus a negative becomes a positive, so that means it's y equals 8. And look, if I just do a rough sketch of these things, like the one we just did, if I just roughly sketch that, so if we go, the vertex is at 1, 3, we'll call that right about there. If I go down 5, so that means at 1, -2, there's my focus. And if I go up 5, then here's my directrix, and that's kind of what your parabola looks like. Same deal on the first example. If I sketch this one, so -2, -4, like down here somewhere, and then my focus, if I go up 3, so about right there, if I go down 3, about right there, so there's your parabola. Okay? So if you want to pause the video and do those last two by yourself, I will warn you, your P is going to be a fraction in this case, but it's the same exact process. So go ahead and pause and see if we can work through those, and I'll zip through the answers and finish it up. All right, so again, vertex is 7, -5. A is 2, that's what opens up. My P, not much to do on this one. P equals 1/4 times 2. That's just 1/8. Nothing to simplify or change, so it's a fraction. It kind of is what it is. Okay. Focus, K plus P. So it's still going to be 7 and then -5 plus 1/8. Get a common denominator. So -5/1 plus 1/8 is the same thing as saying -40/8 plus 1/8. So your focus is going to be at 7 and -39/8. Directrix, y equals -5 minus 1/8. Same deal. That's -40/8 minus 1/8. So it's y equals -41/8. There's that one. And again, you're going to get some fractions. I'm not going to make a graph something like that because they'd be super close together. But that's what it is. That's how you find them. Last one, vertex -11.6. A is this -1, so it's going down. P-value, 1/4 times -1, just -1/4. And then your focus, -4, 6, plus a -1/4, basically subtracting, turns into minus. And then we got 6 minus 1/4, which would be 24/4 minus 1/4. So your focus is -4 and 23/4. Directrix, 6 minus a -1/4, that becomes a positive. So that's going to be 25/4. So that is all there is to finding the directrix and the focus of a parabola that goes up or down. In a couple days, we're going to see some parabolas that go left or right, and we'll kind of repeat this process. I'll tell you right now, it's very similar. We just got to go left to right instead of up and down. So if you have questions, as always, please come into tutoring. Until next time, stay safe.